is ready.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game. So taking our long-running series, the Unported Playlist, where I take a look at some of my favorite unported arcade games of all time. And today we're playing Need for Speed Heat Takedown. And I know what you're thinking, Need for Speed Heat was a console game, and that is true, but it got an arcade conversion, giving you 5 courses to race on. And because it's got a ton of charm, a ton of personality, and a really fun neon aesthetic, it's definitely a game I want to take a look at. Before we get far involved though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Definitely helps us out. If you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. But Need for Speed Heat Takedown, or as I'm going to call it moving forward, just Need for Speed, definitely was more of a rare arcade cabinet. I've only ever seen this once. When I talk to other people I know about it, they've never actually played this game in arcades. The good thing is with Techno Parrot, you can play it in the comfort of your own home, but if you got a wheel and pedal set, you're basically set up to play it exactly like you would in the arcades. This is just over the top, straight up arcade racing fun, and I absolutely love the aesthetic. Now be aware this game is incredibly short. You get 5 races, each one takes about 1.5 to 2 minutes, and then at the end the game is over, so you're talking about 12 minutes worth of fun. But I can think of a lot worse ways to spend 12 minutes, and before you make the joke down below, we all know you're not good for any more than 2 minutes. But honestly, this game is just a ton of fun, even if it isn't perfect. I would say as far as the controls are concerned, the physics, they are competent. You definitely get to understand your vehicle, but the drifting maybe leaves a tiny bit to be desired until you find the car that works for you. All you need to do to drift is just basically let off the gas a little bit and then hit it one more time. And you do have a nitrous tank as well that automatically recharges through the races. So you just basically use it on a straightaway, don't use it into a curve, and definitely use it on jumps, and you'll be good to go. But you'll see there, that was the entirety of the first race in the books. And that's the really strange thing about Need for Speed here. Every single race is short, and by the time you realize you're actually in the race seems to be over. The nice thing is the courses are good, the graphics are great, and it does have a ton of personality. And you're going to get a good selection of licensed vehicles as well, so you're not going to be racing on some imaginary cars that don't exist. You're going to get Porsches, you're going to get Lamborghinis, you're going to get a ton of performance cars, and it is going to be fun. And because this is Takedown, you're going to be able to destroy your opponents, and you're also going to be able to destroy the police. Because this is a pursuit game, and at certain points in the race the police are going to key into you, and they are very aggressive. 1 or 2 bumps with the cops and you're going to be busted and go about 5 seconds back until you get control of your vehicle again. So it is a very big risk versus reward as far as whether or not you want to try to get past the police or if you want to try to take them down and destroy them. But you'll see here again, I'm in first place, and I'll basically maintain that the entire time. And here comes the cop and the chase is on. You can see you can kind of bump and run with him, but you have to get ahead, because if he hits you too many times you're going to get 100% nailed. And you'll see here I didn't have my nitro available, so the cop does catch up to me and he does bust me, and that's going to give me a 3-second countdown before I'm back in the race. But it does give you an automatic nitro, which is going to be a good thing. And I do love the cinematic jumps in this game, basically making it look like it's a Fast and Furious game as far as the stunts are concerned, even if it doesn't have anything to do with that franchise. But again, I was able to instantaneously get back into first place from 3rd with not much race left. So that's the one thing about this that I do actively think is a bad thing. The challenge just isn't there. No matter how you kind of play around with the difficulty, this one just seems to be more of an exhibition game, because you have to pay to play the next round every single time, whether you finish in 4th place, 6th place, or 1st place. So basically it's making you feel like a hero and want to just keep going on, which is definitely a way to get more quarters into the machine, but I wish the difficulty had been up just a little bit. Now moving over to the Lamborghini here, completely different handling curve. While I've never driven one in real life, I'm sure it is as close to accurate as an arcade game could make it, which is to say no one's probably ever driven the Lamborghini this way and never will. Most people buy them and just leave them in garages, polish them, and have about 30 miles on them, which always breaks my heart because I wish people would drive them more. But all random car facts aside, again, this game is just pure spectacle. It is 12 minutes worth of fun, and it is a game that you should play at home today. And as far as the soundtrack is concerned, it seems to be borrowed directly from Need for Speed Heat, which had some good music, so go ahead and listen for 45 seconds, and I'll come back and show you the other courses available in the game. But enjoy.
Round 4. Ocean drop. Let's keep Let's see what you're made of.
Fun enough soundtrack, and if you're wondering what those big bass bumps were, they basically had a subwoofer on the actual arcade cabinet when I played it, so when you'd get bumped or if you go off the course, your seat would absolutely 100% rattle, trying to give you some force feedback as far as audio is concerned. A little bit loud here, but if you have a good sound system in your game room, you will get that bass and it will kind of rumble you a little bit. As we move on to the next course, the courses definitely are fun. I just wish they lasted longer. There's a ton of awesome turns, a lot of good places to drift, and I absolutely love all of the neons within the world. You know, I'm not quite sure why every single start of the race, the world is on fire. Just kind of an aesthetic that makes no sense, but does feel like a Need for Speed game. And it is interesting that this game even got an arcade port. I kind of wish they had fleshed it out a little bit more, because 5 courses that last 2 minutes or less really isn't a ton of experience. I get we're not getting a home console release here, but I feel like they could have doubled up on the amount of courses, and people probably would have sat there and continued to put quarters into it, because the racing is competent and fun, and all of the destructible environments in the world in and of themselves work as well. That's the thing about Need for Speed Heat Takedown. It is a bite-sized Need for Speed experience that you can sit down and complete in about the time it takes you to watch like maybe 6 or 7 TikTok videos, and that is totally fine, because I always talk about on the channel, arcade games are great because we don't always have the time to sit down and play games for 2, 4, 6, 8 hours like we used to back in the day. Sometimes you just want to get some gaming in because you have 30 minutes, then you just need to basically move on with your day, and Need for Speed Heat Takedown 100% fills all of those requirements, because you can play the entire game in 15 minutes or less and then just go do something else or load up another arcade game, because if you do have a couple hours to play, maybe you just want to play 3 or 4 arcade games from start to finish, so you feel like you got a ton of gaming in. But I really do love this game, mostly for its aesthetic and its overall challenge, and having cops chasing you in an arcade game is something that you don't see a ton of as far as the genre is concerned. You marry that together with that action cam that basically just shows you jumping, and you even have the police helicopter following you around, and if it's a short 2 minutes, at least it's an intense 2 minutes. You'll see there I finally did escape from the police vehicle, and that's the great thing about this game. The intensity is dialed up to an 11. You basically get up to full speed almost immediately, and then it is just a straight cannonball run to the end of the race. I just again wish there was more actual races to take place in the game, because I want more of this title. I would say this is definitely B tier, but it could have maybe risen up to A tier if it had basically just doubled the content in the game. I want more meat on the bone, but this is just a bite-sized snack, but at least it is a good flavor as far as everything is going on is concerned. But again, tell me down below, have you ever played this game before, or did you play Need for Speed Heat? I checked it out, I didn't really get too much into it, maybe I just didn't have the time. Need for Speed was an incredible game back in the 32-bit era, and I played the ever-loving hell out of it, but honestly, I haven't played it too much in the modern era, so I probably need to actually stop back in and take a look. The last console quote-unquote arcade racing game I've really gravitated towards has been the Forza Horizon series, even if that's not pure arcade. One more soundtrack sample because the music is quite good, and I'll be right back with one more race with a different vehicle. But enjoy!
Welcome to the Pro Cup Tournament. Round 1. Witness. 3, 2, 1, go! Make some noise, Palm City!
Fun soundtrack and does fit the overall vibe of the game, but the interesting thing about this is you have to look at the game 2 different ways. As far as an arcade racing game is concerned, it's a B+ effort. It's a lot of fun, but isn't up there in the upper echelon with the best of Sega or Namco or even any other developer. But as an actual port of something to the arcades, it's got to be the laziest thing possible. And you'll see here every once in a while you will get a stutter. You have to play the race course at least once for everything to cache. But they just basically took some assets from an existing game, packaged them up in an arcade wrapper, and then ship them out to try to make more money. And that makes sense because you've already developed the game once, why not double dip on it and let arcade gamers play it as well? But they basically just did the bare minimum to get this thing running in arcades. They gave you 5 courses, they're not very long, and by the time you realize you're enjoying the game, the credits are scrolling and everything is over. And honestly, the difficulty is just way too easy. But definitely check this one out. If you have played it, leave me your thoughts down below. But we're done. I'll see you next week for some more arcade gaming fun. Bye-bye.